$50 for a single Tylenol pill and $500 for a basic plastic bag of salt water. That is the jaw-dropping shock waiting inside a routine envelope on a patient's kitchen table. A quick trip to the emergency room for a simple fever turns into a financial nightmare before the morning coffee even gets cold. The paper bill says you owe thousands of dollars for items that cost pennies at the local store. What the hell is this secret system that turns cheap plastic tubes and simple pills into mortgage-sized debts? The sick person sits staring at the paper with a racing heart and shaking hands. The headache from last week was bad, but the terror of total financial ruin is much worse. They thought insurance would cover the visit, but the claim was rejected or slashed to pieces. Now the threat of collection calls hangs over their family like a dark cloud. Every line on the paper feels like a punch to the gut, leaving them breathless and terrified. Behind the heavy doors of the financial office, the hospital uses a secret master price list. This hidden list is called a charge master, and it acts as the primary tool for price inflation. It is a giant computer database containing tens of thousands of medical supply costs and simple procedures. Nobody sets these rates based on real market costs or cheap factory production. Instead, the hospital sets these prices sky high simply because no law stops them from pulling wild numbers out of thin air. Why would a facility charge $500 for a tiny Band-Aid or a cheap needle? The secret lies in how big health networks negotiate their massive payouts. The hospital presents these fake astronomical prices to large insurance companies during secret yearly contract talks. By starting with a huge fictional price, the hospital can offer a fake discount and still walk away with massive profits. It is a giant game of financial hide and seek where the price tag is fake but the profit is very real. The trick relies heavily on a sneaky strategy called upcoding. Upcoding is billing for more work than was actually done by the medical staff. A quick 5-minute chat with the nurse gets marked down as a complex, high-level emergency room exam. A standard bandage gets changed into an expensive surgical tool on the final ledger. Computer algorithms scan every chart to find ways to bump low-cost care into high-cost categories before the bill goes out the door. When the insurance firm gets the inflated bill, their automated software kicks into high gear. These automated denial bots scan the claim in milliseconds, looking for any tiny excuse to reject the payment. If a code is off by a single digit, the claim gets denied instantly. That leaves the defenseless patient caught right in the middle of two giant companies fighting over money. The insurance company refuses to pay the inflated markups, and the hospital turns around to demand full payment from the sick person. Governments have tried to fix this broken system by passing new price transparency laws. Lawmakers commanded facilities to post their complete charge master price lists online for everyone to see. But the hospitals turned these public lists into an unreadable mess of confusing spreadsheets and secret codes. They dumped thousands of technical codes like ICD-10 onto complicated websites without explaining what anything actually costs. They followed the letter of the law while completely hiding the truth from ordinary working families. An average family cannot shop around for the best price during a sudden medical emergency. When a child breaks an arm or a parent collapses with chest pain, nobody spends an hour reading complicated online price sheets. You get into the nearest car or ambulance and rush to the closest open door. The hospital knows you have zero choices in that scary moment, and they use that total panic to trap you in their secret price web. The key to fighting back starts on the kitchen table with a single key step. You must never pay the summary bill that just lists one huge total number. You must call the billing department directly and demand a full itemized billing record. An itemized statement breaks down every single charge line by line with specific numbers and codes. The moment a patient asks for an itemized breakdown, fake charges often start to vanish like magic because the staff knows they got caught. Without an itemized bill, you are paying for ghost supplies you never touched. Patients often find charges for room days after they were sent home, or charges for medicine that was brought to the room but never taken. You might see 3 different charges for the exact same pair of cheap rubber gloves. Deconstructing these complex bills line by line exposes the absurd markups and brings the fake price back down to reality. This silent financial battle happens thousands of times every single day across the nation. Millions of hardworking people are forced to make terrible choices between buying food or paying off an inflated medical debt. Their credit scores suffer under low FICO ratings, making it impossible to buy a home or rent an apartment. The constant threat of collection agencies drives normal families into total panic, all over a debt that was built on made-up prices. In executive boardrooms, corporate health bosses look at graphs showing rising revenue and growing profits. They hire teams of financial experts whose only job is to squeeze more money out of every patient visit. These administrators do not care about healing the sick. They focus on administrative bloat and bigger bonus checks. They treat the hospital like a high-tech cash pump, using secret pricing lists as their main lever to pull in millions. To keep the cash flowing, executives encourage doctors to order endless extra tests and expensive scans. Every single scan and blood test gets attached to a high charge master rate. Even a simple plastic cup used for a urine sample gets billed at 20 times its real cost. The system rewards waste and overcharging while punishing anyone who tries to keep care simple and fair. If a patient tries to dispute a charge, they get bounced around a cold corporate phone system for hours. The customer service reps read from scripted lines, telling you that the prices are standard and non-negotiable. They hope you get tired, give up, and just mail in a check or set up a high-interest payment plan. It is an exhausting game of mental warfare designed to wear down sick people until they surrender their hard-earned money. Because insurance companies negotiate deep hidden discounts behind closed doors, uninsured patients suffer the worst abuse. An uninsured worker gets charged the full, undiscounted chargemaster price, which is often 4 to 5 times higher than what an insurance company actually pays. A routine hospital stay that costs an insurance company $3,000 turns into a $15,000 debt trap for an uninsured worker. The poorest patients are forced to pay the highest prices. Knowledge is the only real armor a patient has against these predatory tactics. When you hold an itemized record, you can compare every code against fair market prices using public online tools. You can point out that a $20 Band-Aid or a $500 saline bag violates fair pricing standards. Showing the hospital that you understand their hidden game changes the entire dynamic of the fight. When patients push back with evidence, hospital financial departments often back down quickly. They offer sudden discounts of 50 or 60% just to close the account before an outside auditor looks at the books. They know their internal charge master prices cannot stand up to serious public scrutiny or legal challenges. The terrifying debt starts to shrink the moment you stand your ground and demand real answers. The massive corporate profit machine has pushed the entire country into an economic crisis. Medical debt is now the leading cause of personal bankruptcy in the nation, destroying middle-class security. Billions of dollars are sucked out of local communities and funneled directly into massive healthcare conglomerates. Small businesses struggle to offer health coverage to workers because the inflated supply costs drive premiums through the roof. The money train shows no signs of slowing down on its own. Non-profit hospitals claim to serve the public good, yet they hold billions of dollars in offshore investments while suing low-income patients for unpaid bills. They hide behind charitable tax exemptions while using aggressive collection tactics to seize wages and put liens on homes. The system is systematically rigged to turn human suffering into corporate wealth. Even the claims process itself is rigged through secret backroom kickbacks and legal loopholes. Big health systems buy up small doctor clinics in town, and suddenly the cost of a basic visit doubles overnight. They rebrand the clinic as a hospital facility, allowing them to tack on massive facility fees to every single bill. A routine checkup that used to cost $100 now costs $500 just because of the new sign on the door. Every family must learn to inspect their medical paperwork with the precision of a fraud investigator. Never accept a high total bill without seeing every line item and every code. Question every single charge. Demand proof for every supply listed, and force the hospital to justify their crazy markups. Until laws are written to crush these predatory lists forever, your own vigilance is the only line of defense against financial ruin. The giant price machine relies on silence, fear, and confusion to keep pulling in billions of dollars. But when patients shine a bright light on the opaque charge master, the fake numbers start to crumble. By deconstructing the bill, challenging every single code, and refusing to pay absurd prices, you take away their secret weapon. The power returns to the patient the moment we stop accepting crazy charges as normal.